Here we'll take a look at swipes. If you go to the Android presets that Flash already has by going to File, New, then going to Templates, Air for Android, and then Swipe Gallery, we can see the template that Flash already has. If I go ahead and test the movie by hitting Control Enter, then go to the Touch and Gesture tab, and then hit Touch Layer, and then Swipe, I can simply click and drag and swipe between the different numbers that are present on the stage. Okay, just close this off, we don't need this. What I've done here is taken that exact movie clip and combined 3 of it, or 4 of it here, and combined that into a single movie clip. The reason I did that is because the previous examples only contain swipes along the X direction, that is to the left and the right. What we'll do here is an example on swiping in both left, right, up and down directions. So I'll create a new layer called Actions, and then click on the first frame of the Actions layer and open up my Actions panel. As usual, the first thing we'll do is set the multi-touch input mode. So multi-touch dot input mode will be equal to multi-touch input mode dot gesture. Semicolon to understatement. And now we need to define 4 variables. VAR, the first one will be called current item X. It's going to be of type number. We'll set it equal to 1, semicolon, and then VAR, current item Y is going to be of type number, set it equal to as well 1. And now VAR total items, also it's of type number, set it equal to 4, semicolon, I'm sorry, that's total items X, and again VAR total items Y, it's of type number, set it equal to 4, semicolon. Now we need to add an event listener to the stage that will listen for our swiping events. So stage dot add event listener. It's going to be of type transform gesture event dot gesture, all uppercase, underscore swipe, and the function will be called simply swipe, semicolon to end your statement. And now to create this swipe function, so function swipe e colon transform gesture event colon void, and then opening and closing curly braces. Now here we'll have a set of if statements. That is, if the swipe is to the left, to the right, downwards or upwards. So if e dot offset x, that's an uppercase X, is equal to -1. That is, if we swipe to the left, offset x equals -1. It's the exact of saying if we swiped to the left. Then we need the opening and the closing curly braces for the if statement. Now again we'll have another if statement. So if current item X is less than total items X. That means if we yet haven't reached the last element on our vertical line here, if we haven't reached the fourth element yet, that's because if we've reached the fourth element, we don't need to swipe to the left anymore. Then we need it to slide left. This is a function that we will define in a minute. And then current item plus plus. This means that we have now moved to the right one step, so the current item will be increased by 1. That's current item X. Sorry about that. And again, let's create one for the offset X equals plus 1. So we'll copy this, paste it. So if e.offset X equals plus 1, that is the same as saying if we've swiped to the right. So if current item X is greater than 1, that is if we're not on the first item, that is of number 1, we need to slide right, and then current item X minus minus. That does it for offset X. Now for the offset Y, which is along the Y direction. So we'll copy both of these and then paste. So if e.offset Y, if e.offset Y is equal to plus 1, we're going to slide down, and then current item Y plus plus, and then if current item Y is less than total item Y. Okay, now for the offset Y equals minus 1, if current item Y is less than total items Y, slide down, current item Y plus plus. Okay, if e.offset Y is equal to minus 1, then if current item Y is greater than 1, okay, slide up, and then current item Y minus minus. Okay, now to create the functions slide right, slide left, slide up, and slide down. We'll get out of the first function, swipe, click enter. Now function slide left, and there's the colon void here. I've named the item on my stage gallery, so whenever I refer to gallery, I'm referring to this item right here. Now we need to add an event listener to our gallery that will trigger an interframe event that will animate our item on the stage. Seems like a lot of work, but this is the proper way of doing it. So gallery dot add event listener event dot enter, or uppercase, underscore frame. comma. This will trigger a function, will be called move left. Sorry. Okay. Now we'll copy this, paste it 3 more times. This function will be called slide right, move right, slide up, move up, slide down, move down. Okay, now to create these final 4 functions. I promise that those will be the last 4 functions that we'll define. So function move left first, event void. So to move our item to the left, we can use what we've learned before by animating using enter frame events, where we add a specific number of pixels to the X position. In this case, because we're animating along to the X direction, we can add a specific number of pixels to its X position each time the timer runs, the event runs. Because this is an inter-frame event, my current frame rate is at 24 frames per second. So 24 times per second this function will run. We need to add a specific number of pixels to its X position at each time this function runs, and we want it to stop at a specific position where the number 1 is away from the stage, out of the stage now, and the number 2 appears. And the current stage width is set to 480 pixels. So the way I'll do this is I'll add 48 pixels to its X position 10 times. That adds up to 480 pixels. So after 10 times this function runs, 480 pixels will have been added to the X position of my item here. So what we'll be seeing after that is this. It will be like this. And the same way we'll be going, and the same thing will happen when we animate along the Y coordinates. We'll be seeing it like this. And when we slide left, of course, we'll be moving like this. Okay. Hope that clears things up, because you need to understand how will this work and what will the code that I'll write will do. So now, function move left, gallery dot x minus equals 48. Because we're moving to the left, we need to subtract 48 pixels, or we need to subtract a certain amount of number of pixels from its X position. And then we need to define a variable, var, I'll call it slide counter. It's going to be of type number. We'll set it equal to 0 initially. So now move left gallery.x minus equals 48 pixels, and then slide counter plus plus, semicolon to end your statement. Now when the slide counter reaches 10, then I would have subtracted 480 pixels out of my gallery item here. So we need to stop whenever the slider counter reaches 10. So we'll add an if statement. So if gallery slide counter is equal to 10, then we need to remove the event listener from our the move left event listener from our gallery item. So we'll go up here, then the event listener that is related to the move left function is this one. We'll copy this, paste it here, gallery dot remove event listener. Okay, and then after this we need to reset the slide counter back to 0 because we're going to need this. We're going to use the slide counter at all of the functions here. So after it equals 10, we're going to reset it back to 0. So slide counter equals 0, semicolon to end your statement. That does it for our move left function. Let's copy this, then paste it 3 more times. There's the first one. Now the second one will be move right. Gallery.x plus equals 48, slide counter plus plus. Same thing here, except we'll be removing the event listener from the move right event listener. That's a lowercase I there, I'm sorry. Slide counter equals 0. Now for the move up function, gallery.y minus equals 80. The reason why we're subtracting 80 pixels from its y coordinates is because the stage height is now set to 800 pixels. So after 10 times we've subtracted 80 pixels from its y position, I would have subtracted 800 pixels, which is equal to the stage height. Same way as we did with our x position. So slide counter plus plus, if slide counter equals 10, gallery.remove event listener move up. Slide counter equals 0. Now function move down. Okay, gallery.y plus equals 80. That's because as an object moves downward on the state, a certain amount of pixel is being added to its y coordinate. Now gallery.remove event listener interframe event move down. That's down. Okay, slide counter equals 0. That looks like that's pretty much it. Let's hit Control Enter to test. Okay, and we have 4 errors. Oh, I'm sorry about that. This is kind of embarrassing. That's 2 equals, not a single equal, because we're comparing here, not assigning values to the slide counter. Okay, and then finally one here. Let's try this one more time. Okay, good. No more errors. Let's go to the touch and gesture layers. Turn on the touch layer and then click on swipe. Let's slide to the left. Okay, good. We can no longer slide to the left. Let's try sliding to the right. Okay, all seems good. Let's slide upwards. And we have a problem. We can slide downwards, but we can't slide upwards. Let's go ahead and see why. Oh, okay, I see what I've done here. I've actually inverted this, 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 and this. When we slide down, we need to make sure that the current item Y is greater than 1, and that when we offset it by -1, that is when we slide up, we need to make sure that the current item Y is less than the total items Y. And whenever we slide down, we subtract 1 from the current item Y, and whenever we slide up, we add 1 to the current item Y. Hopefully this didn't confuse you in any way. Control Enter test again, and hopefully this time turn on the swipe. When we swipe upwards, move up. When we swipe downwards, move down. And we can no longer swipe downwards when we've reached the limit, the first element. When we slide upwards, same thing here. Slide left. Okay, slide right. All seems to be working properly. So this is how you use the swipe event.